All right, exciting show for you today, guys. We're going to talk about whether America should get involved in bombing Iran. All right, let's get into the show. So recently, there's been a lot of talk about if America should get involved in this war, if America should bomb Iran. After all America really needs to do is bomb Fordo because Israel is able to take out most of their other facilities, and the only one that America is not able to take out is Fordo. Now let's talk about why that is before we go on. The reason is that Fordo is like is 150 meters below the is buried like 150 meters. The Fordo facility is buried 90 meters below the surface, and Israel has no bomb that can penetrate that deep. The only bomb that can penetrate that deep is a 30,000-pound mop, which was designed to do this. It's a bunker-busting bomb, and really you would need two of these because this only goes 60 meters. So what they would do, I saw like some army general explaining this, is what happens is that one would go in and borrow and explode, and then another one would go straight in and hit that crater, and it would blow up. That's how America would blow up Fordo. Now, I don't know if Israel has a plan for Fordo without America, but I think there's a lot of talk in conservative media and pro-Israel media of this is just a slam dunk. Why shouldn't they do this? And I don't think it's a slam dunk at all. I also think that America and Israel have profoundly different interests in Iran. Like I explained last week, I think Israel is really after regime change, whereas America wants them to do an Iran deal. But Iran without nuclear weapons is not a threat to America. Now, let's be understanding of the American people as to why they don't want to get into another war. And I want to show you a clip from Netanyahu telling Congress why they should attack Iraq. And I want to show you how he justified this war.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. And I think that people sitting right next door in Iran, young people, and many others will say, the time of such regimes, of such despots, is gone. There is a new age.
So his prediction before the war in Iraq was that there'll be enormous, wonderful repercussions. And one of them will be that Iran will finally be free.
Something new is happening.
And that is speculation on your part, or you have some evidence to that effect?
I was asked the same.
That's a good question. Do you have any evidence? Oh, maybe he does.
Question in 1986, I had written a book in which I had said that the way to deal with terrorist regimes.
Oh, you wrote a book.
With terror was to deal with the terrorist regimes, and the way to deal with the terrorist regimes, among other things, was to apply military force against them.
The way we did in Afghanistan.
The way, for example,
The question was, is there any evidence that this war will have wonderful repercussions for the region? And his answer was, I wrote a book on how to deal with terrorism.
To answer your question.
I guess I'm running out of time, so I quickly was trying to get to. We've done, I think, what you proposed in Afghanistan, yet I haven't seen that sort of neighborhood effect.
Well, I think there's been an enormous effect. The effect was we were told that there would be a contrary effect. First of all, people said that there would be tens of thousands of people streaming into Afghanistan, zealots who would be outraged by America's action, and this would produce a counter-reaction in the Arab world.
But I think you're not saying that when you take an action like we did in Afghanistan, we're going to see all the other countries just fold.
No, what we saw.
So there, he is. Well, have we seen that effect? Well, there's been an enormous effect, but not the effect that he hoped for.
Or something else. First of all, we saw everybody streaming out of Afghanistan. The second thing we saw is all the Arab countries and many Muslim countries trying to side with America, trying to be okay with America. The application of power is the most important thing in winning the war on terrorism. If I had to say, what are the three principles of winning the war on terror? It's like, what are the three principles of real estate? The three L's, location, location, location. The three principles of winning the war on terror are the three W's, winning, winning, and winning. The more victories you amass, the easier the next victory becomes. The first victory in Afghanistan makes the second victory in Iraq that much easier. The second victory in Iraq will make the third victory that much easier too. But it may change the nature of achieving that victory.
Hi.
Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, did that not age well. Whew. The first victory in Afghanistan, how'd that go? We left in humiliation. The second victory in Iraq, also in humiliation, disaster, lost too much money, wasted lives for nothing. These terror wars have been an epic disaster. And Netanyahu now is coming to America and asking them to do the same thing. I mean, and even if you claim that, well, no one's after a regime change war, that's not true. Because what if the regime ends up getting toppled, and America ends up what if the regime gets toppled, and America has to pick up the pieces, which is clearly what Israel is doing now. Israel is clearly after regime change in Iran. The majority of bombings are taking place in Tehran. They're not focused on the nukes. So they're certainly taking out the nukes, but they're trying to cause regime change in Iran. And what they want to do is America to bomb Fordow. But once America joins the war, then America joins the collapse of the regime. And Americans are also are certainly allowed to be skeptical of claims of weapons of mass destruction. I want to show you a really important clip from George W. Bush, back justifying the war in Iraq. This is a video of George W. Bush justifying taking out Saddam Hussein.
From a high-ranking Iraqi nuclear engineer who had defected, revealed that despite his public promises, Saddam Hussein had ordered his nuclear program to continue. The evidence indicates that Iraq is reconstituting its nuclear weapons program. Saddam Hussein has held numerous meetings with Iraqi nuclear scientists, a group he calls his nuclear mujahideen, his nuclear holy warriors. Satellite photographs reveal that Iraq is rebuilding facilities at sites that have been part of its nuclear program in the past. Iraq has attempted to purchase high-strength aluminum tubes and other equipment needed for gas centrifuges, which are used to...
This, by the way, was like supposed to be the smoking gun. Aluminum tubing that was used in centrifuges. And they turned out to be no weapons of... Just remember this. There were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Nothing. And this is how the war was justified.
To enrich uranium for nuclear weapons. If the Iraqi regime is able to produce, buy, or steal an amount of highly enriched uranium a little larger than a single softball, it could have a nuclear weapon in less than a year. And if we allow that to happen, a terrible line would be crossed. Saddam Hussein would be in a position to blackmail anyone who opposes his aggression. He would be in a position to dominate the Middle East. He would be in a position to threaten America. And Saddam Hussein would be in a position to pass nuclear technology to terrorists.
All right, so that was peak fear-mongering to justify the war in Iraq. Now let's go through that. You see, they don't push for regime change anymore. But why were they pushing for regime change then? Because regime change is really the only logical thing. And while Bush just talks a whole lot of nonsense and lies in that video, he does make an interesting argument over there. He says that you could have centrifuges in the size of washing machines. You could hide them with highly enriched uranium. And all a country needs is to acquire this much enriched uranium, the size of a gold spoon. They could have a nuclear weapon within less than a year. So we have to take them out. So that was a disaster, and it turned out not to be true. But if the justification to take out a regime is they might eventually acquire nuclear bombs, then you could take out any regime. And I don't know what the answer to that question is. But if George Bush is right in this video, then Israel's war in Iran is meaningless. Obviously, I don't think he's right because we would see mushroom clouds everywhere. It appears not to be so easy to create a nuclear bomb. However, this is really why Israel is after regime change in Iran, because firstly, you can't find you can never fully destroy a nuclear program. But more than that, the regime is really the threat to Israel. You see, had October 7th not happened, and think about what would happen if Iran was now bombing Israel, and Hezbollah had not been wiped off the map, and Hamas had not been wiped off the map. That would be a real existential threat to Israel. And so what Israel is doing now, certainly Israel has been in a proxy war with Iran for many years, a hot proxy war. And Israel, I think, is totally justified in taking out Iran and dealing with the consequence of that. And if the regime falls and it's a disaster in Iran, which it very well might be, there is no reason to assume that it will be great. In fact, all recent history tells us it will be a disaster. It would just cause a huge human rights crisis. We'll see mass immigration. We'll see refugees. We'll see terrorism. We'll see multi-factions. Why wouldn't people say, well, Persians are not the same as Arabs? I don't know if they are. I don't know if they aren't. I think it's nonsense. I think that in a vacuum, that chaos will ensue. And so America should not get involved in it, because why should America own it? Why should America have to, if America causes that, like Cheney, like Colin Powell correctly said to Bush, and then we didn't take his advice. But if you break it, you bought it. We don't want to. And also, I want to get involved speak about the other reason why America should not get involved. Americans' military campaigns in recent years have been a disaster. And I think the main reason why is that America does not fight with their backs against the wall. We do not fight scrappy. You see these spectacular military movements from Israel where they take out Iranian missile defense with drones, and then they come in with bombing. America never does anything like that. They just drop these huge bombs. Why? Because America's homeland is far away, and America doesn't really feel like Iran is a risk. And fighting wars like that just end up being boons for weapons manufacturers that never end, never have a justification, never have explanation. The ship always change. Oh, we're there for the nukes. Oh, we're there for the Iranian woman. Oh, we got to protect some sort of group. I don't know. Enrolls the Iranian version of the Kurds, whatever it is. The whole thing just ends up going off the rails, and America sucks at doing it, and America shouldn't get involved. How Israel destroyed Fordo? Well, a few minutes ago there was an earthquake in Fordo, there was an earthquake near Fordo, so that the whole question might be muted. But how should Israel take them out? They're probably they probably had a plan, and it's not Israel's job it's not America's job to make Israel's plan work. And I think they can sell and give any weapons that Israel asks for. I don't promise that Israel is allowed to buy weapons to fight its wars. But there is no reason why America shouldn't get involved. Now, I'm being a little dishonest over here. America is already involved because America has assets in the Middle East, and America is shooting down missiles and the like. But I think just like in Ukraine, I think there is still a line to be crossed, and I don't think America should cross that line. I think Israel is doing what it's doing. I hope Israel has a plan for Fordo, and I think Israel should just continue to be the way it is. And I don't want America involved in any more wars. Trump was elected not to get involved in more wars. It would be a disaster if every president just keeps getting elected and breaks that promise. All right, that over today, guys. Have a good one.